Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to continue with part 3 of the review for the new upcoming Hearthstone expansion, Perils in Paradise. And I also want to say that if you leave any comments or any card discussions in any of the videos below, at the end of everything, I will make a bonus stream where I talk about all the questions on all the YouTube videos for all the reviews. So if you have any inspirations or any questions, feel free to leave them below the video as well. And I'll make a bonus stream on Twitch that I'll also put on YouTube later, where I'll discuss every single one of the questions or inspirations you have for the cards. And just let me know if I maybe might have missed some things. So we're gonna jump in again. Last time we left off with Cabaret Headliner, which was a 4-mana 3/3 Naga Shaman card. That battle cry reduced the cost of spell of each spell in your hand by 2, and this card looks really good. I think it definitely will see some play. I will also, if I make like a really big review at the end, I'll probably be able to give some more star bonuses to a card, because right now it's a little bit hard to evaluate the star bonuses, but I can give you impression good, bad, or mediocre, and at the end of every episode I will review the good cards, so at least we can remember those. Alright, too much said already. Now we have a 2-mana Death Knight card called Corpsicle. It's a frost spell and it has 1 frost rune. It text is deal 3 damage, spend 3 corpses to return this to your hand at the end of your turn. First, when I look at this card, I'm thinking, oh, 2 mana, deal 3 damage. That's kind of okay. And it immediately reminds me of Frozen Touch, which was infuse for 3 friendly minions die, and then the card gets infused and you can play it. If I compare this card to Frozen Touch, this card is better because you could also infuse 6 times or gain 6 corpses in 1 turn, and it will just accumulate it, and you can just play like multiple corpsicles over multiple turns. The downsides, however, are that because it says spend 3 corpses, return this to your hand at the end of your turn, you can't play both the pre-infused and the uninfused version, which is what you used to be able to with Frozen Touch, in the same turn and take advantage of spell power to kill your opponent. And the other thing is, if you have multiple corpsicles in your hand, like you used to have with Frozen Touches, they would all get infused by the same minions. And here, 3 corpses is only good enough for 1 corpsicle. So if you have 2 in hand, to replay both of the ones that you have in hand, you need to have 6 corpses, which is 6 minions die, which is actually quite a lot more. So, given those restrictions, I think this card is worse than Frozen Touch, but I think it's a nice removal card for some deck that wants to spend corpses, like, for example, Rainbow Death Knight. So I could see it being played there, but I think currently, when I look at it, it's probably slightly worse than some of the other cards that you have. For example, there's a 2-mana, 1 Frost Rune card that says deal 3 damage. And then if you kill a minion, you can get to discover a Frost Rune card. I think this one is currently better. So I think Corpsicle will probably not see immediate play, but it'll be one of the cards that's really nice and powerful when you discover it. Then we have 2-mana Petty Theft. Get 2 random 1-cost spells from other classes. There's a different spell which is in Rogue already, which is 2 mana, discover a spell from another class, gain a copy of it. And this one's discover, but it can be any spell. And here you have 1 mana costs cards, which are easier to play, but I think Petty Theft for 2 mana, even though you can prep it, 1-cost spells can be pretty hit or miss. You can have some that really don't work with your class, and you'll be able to get around this by discovering the spell a little bit. So I think just scanning random spells is not good enough, and I think this is a bad card. Then we have 7 mana 4/5 Pirate Cruise Captain Laura, which is a druid card. Battlecry, summon 2 random locations. Alright, so Random locations, we'll see a lot more new locations in this expansion, and I think locations are usually costed around 2, 3, sometimes 4 mana. And when you get the 4 mana locations, these are usually really powerful. We'll have to see what the end of the location pool looks like. The nice thing about locations is that they kind of have charge, so they have an immediate use. So even if you spend 7 mana on a card here, you can use the locations immediately and oftentimes get a direct use out of them. Problem with it is that location cards are often value cards, so it's a little bit hard to evaluate. If I would have to guess, I would say this card will not see play. But we will look at all locations when they come out, and maybe you're playing a Reno deck, maybe you just want another value card, and maybe you put this in there. It's at least higher impact. Marin, I think, for example, is a better card because the impact over the whole game is higher. And you'll get the value next turn anyway. And if you have locations now, usually you get the value next turn anyway, because you don't... Usually locations give you value and then you put the value into tempo and not really the other way around. So I think this card will probably not see play. And then we have 3 mana, 2/5 Pirate, Customs Enforcer. This is a neutral card, and it says enemy cards that did not start in their deck cost 2 or more. Which is a really interesting card because there's a lot of random generation in Hearthstone, and especially Excavate Rogue is on top of the meta right now, and it's possible that Excavate Rogue could be on top of the meta again. Or generally, any Excavate class generates cards that are not part of their class. However, investing 3 mana to play a 2/5 is a little bit of a question mark. However, sometimes people play stuff like a Razor Scale, which is 3 mana 2/4 neutral dragon, in their buff paladin deck to keep their opponents from coming back. And this 3 mana 2/5, especially when it gets buffed, as a like maybe a 3/6 or a 4/7 from the weapon, might be hard to remove and might be really good to have like a swing turn. It also plays, for example, around Brawl generated from Gift that warriors might play to clear your board. So this is a really, I think, interesting kind of card, and I can see it being like used as a one-off tech card in some decks that work like hand buff paladin. And of course, this card will have huge impact when it is discovered. For example, there's a 2 mana Excavate Treasure that gives you lets you discover a random 3 mana card, and if you discover this and play this into your opponent's turn, this will be quite powerful. Razor Scale, for example, also made all cards cost at least 2, and this one makes only your enemy's cards cost more if they are not from your deck. So I think this card might actually see some kind of play as a tech card, and especially be powerful as a discover card. And then the last card for today will be 3 mana 3/3. It's an undead pirate called Bumbling Bellhop, and it's another neutral card. So this can be put in every deck. It's taunt, and the text is, of course, taunt, battle cry. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, summon a copy of this. So if you're having a spell in hand that costs 5 or more, you get 2 3/3s with taunt. 2 3/3s in general, I don't think would be good enough right now. But I think the keyword taunt is quite useful. Thinking about which classes have spells that cost 5 or more and have them reliably in your hand is a little bit of a tough one. But there is some potential that there could be in the future some mage with really expensive spells. Again, like a spell mage like we had, for example, with Belinda, where you only wanted to play a certain amount of spells, and then you have the rest as minions because you want to tutor specific ones, and then you have really expensive spells. And I think Belinda Mage, for example, this card would have definitely seen play because it's one of these cards that gives you enough stall to get to your good plays later. I don't think this is a good card, but in Belinda Mage, I think this would have been played. So I think this has potential to be a card of the future, depending on other things that might be released in this expansion soon. Alright, so to summarize, Bellhop, a maybe, Enforcer, a tech card, Captain Laura, which was the druid pirate. 7 mana 4/5 legendary pirate, probably not great. And Petty Theft, also not great. Corpsicle, probably also not great. But last but not least, we have a 3 mana 3/3 dragon that is called Gorgonzormu, which is 3 mana 3/3 dragon, like I said. Gorgonzormu, legendary neutral card, so can be played in any deck again. Battle Cry, get a 2-cost cheese that summons 3 1-cost minions. It upgrades each turn. So at the end of your turn, it will become summon 3 2-cost minions, summon 3 3-cost minions, summon 3 4-cost minions. And besides the fact that this card is like really good in Arena, I think this card has potential to be cheesy. And there might be some dragon synergies that we're like not aware of. And one of the other things that I think could be really insane with this, if I think about Zarimi Priest, like you play this in Zarimi Priest and you let the cheese age, and then you get a double turn while you summon like 8-drops. You play like 2 mana, gain 3 8-drops, play Zarimi, and then the 8-drops can all attack in your extra turn and you OTK your opponent. I think that's not a completely unrealistic case. I think this card's really cool, and I think the card will definitely see some sort of play, because I think even if this cheese like only ages for 1 or 2 turns, I think this will be quite powerful. Let me know in the comments what you think, especially what you think of Gorgonzormu. I think it'll be playable, but maybe I'm wrong, so let me know. And I'll see you again tomorrow for number 4 of the review, making our way forward towards the expansion. Thank you all for being here, making it this far in the video, and always remember that you're valuable and you matter.